Hey folks, really exciting news. Over on MediaDwarf.com, you can go and get your hands on Geeks for Fun merch. If you want to get the yin yang symbol from Kakarot Ken or our channel icon, you can get that on some pretty sweet looking shirts. I'll have a link in the description and the pinned comment, and more information will be at the end of this video.
Last time on Dragon Ball DC. The invasion of Earth carried out by the last Saiyans was stopped by the Justice League, but at the cost of 2 cities and League founders. Now, as the leader of the Saiyans is being held prisoner on Earth, the survivors contemplate a small hope provided by a rookie Green Lantern named Kyle Rayner.
Kyle Rayner exited the bar's back door, heading into the alleyway to get some air. The news report of Coast City's destruction had shaken him. He was an artist. He was used to imagining the impossible, but all those people wiped out so quickly, for no reason at all. He didn't know how to even fathom such a thing.
It's going to be alright. Someone's going to know what to do.
Kyle's vision was suddenly engulfed by a burst of emerald light. The Guardian, Ganfet, now floating above him.
We haven't got much time, so I suppose you'll do.
It has been a week since the attack of the Saiyans. The people of Earth have begun to rebuild, but the losses that day have been etched into the planet and its heroes. Enraged by Aquaman's death, his queen Mera demanded Arthur's seat on the Justice League. Prince Vegeta is now imprisoned in Themyscira, being too powerful for even the strongest of meta-human jails to contain him. Wonder Woman hopes to learn more about the true purpose behind the attack from him, but the decision has been a point of controversy, with Lex Luthor stoking the fires of people demanding the Saiyan be brought to their idea of justice. This anti-Saiyan rhetoric has also impacted Kakarot's life, no longer being able to go on his usual patrols without people heckling him on sight. Kakarot understood why people were reacting this way, but it meant he had to reevaluate just how he was going to keep helping people who didn't want anything to do with him. The Daily Planet was the only paper to still attempt to highlight his good deeds, but even the mighty pen of Lois Lane couldn't change the fact that Kakarot was going to be forever associated with one of the greatest tragedies in history. Everyone had lost something that day, but there was a chance to put things right, thanks to Kyle Rayner.
So then, after he told me about the core, Ganthet mentioned something about these things called entities. That if they'd been able to use all of them together, all the destruction could have been undone. I tried to press him further, but he never mentioned it again. He looked guilty. I know this isn't much, but this guy's a guardian of the universe, and, well, I can't help but feel there has to be something to it.
You're asking us to scour the entire universe on a feeling.
Please. With my ships, you could search galaxies in a day. It's hardly an issue.
Don't test me, Luthor. After the stunt you pulled against the Saiyans, you're lucky to not be in a jail cell.
I already disproved your little allegations, but if we're throwing them around, I'm sure I can think of a few of your secrets we can share.
Gentlemen, now is not the time. I can attest to what the Green Lantern saw. The boy's memories do not lie, and I have heard whispers of such beings in my lifetime.
Even so, Jean, this is bringing people back from the dead. Isn't that a little above our pay grade?
If even the slightest chance of reviving Arthur exists, nothing will stop me. Even death.
It seems another of my mistakes is having unforeseen consequences. My apologies.
The Guardian appeared in the Hall of Justice meeting room without warning, having suspected Carl may try to act on his slip-up in mentioning the entities. Given the information was now in the open, he felt it was his duty to explain to the League the impossibility of such a task. Long ago, the white light was shattered by the darkness into the 7 feelings of the emotional spectrum. This led to life being generated across the universe, beginning on Earth. As sentient beings began to rise, 7 of them were the first to tap into the energy and corresponding light of the emotions, thus being transformed into cosmic-level entities of staggering power. The Butcher, embodying rage. Ophidian, avarice. Parallax, fear. ion, willpower, adara, hope, proselyte, compassion, and the predator, love. Ganthet theorized that should all the beings be brought together, it could reignite the white light of life and bring back those killed that day.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time we've seen people come back. I mean, we thought you were dead, Kakarot, until you showed up in new duds and spiky hair. Hair.
Yep, we have to give it a shot. Plus, if there's these crazy strong beings out there, I really want to meet them. What's there to lose?
Everything we have left. I don't think you understand. We just took the biggest hit to our defenses in history thanks to your family reunion. Now the planet is going to be vulnerable, and if this dark side, or anyone else with a basic understanding of strategic timing decides to launch another strike while we're off-world, who's going to stop them?
Me. I will be staying behind, and with the help of our remaining allies, the world shall be guarded from threats within and without. You have my word. In my stead, John shall lead this odyssey.
The Martian Manhunter was taken back at first by the offer, but humbly accepted leadership for the time being. Lex Luthor requested to stay behind too, under the pretense of focusing on the rebuilding efforts he was funding, when really, he saw this as exactly the type of opportunity Batman was worried about. Luthor was already being viewed as the hero that saved Earth, but now he could cement that in the public's mind with the League being gone. For the next 3 days, the heroes prepared, doing their best to ensure that any lingering threats were dealt with before they set off on their journey. Kakarot first asked Jimmy Olsen if he wanted to look after the farm, but Jimmy was busy fighting demons in another dimension, so he then had to default to Lady Shiva. She was intrigued at the offer, a new challenge she hadn't considered, and decided to ensure that she would pull some connections to make sure it would be taken care of, so long as he showed her his new improvements. Kakarot ignited his Wrathform aura, nearly destroying the room they were in from the sudden burst of ki. Lady Shiva noted that there was an increase in power, but in her opinion, the threat of losing control made the form useless in her mind. He was not in balance. A beast's rage was not the same as a man's. Primal anger was a fleeting thing. To sincerely find balance, Kakarot would need true, spiritual fury. She believed his form was a mere stepping stone, and that Kakarot had yet to fully find what suited him best.
You are a curious thing to me, warrior. You are the only person I've ever met who enjoys combat more than I, and yet we cannot agree on its use.
Well, you hurt people for money.
No, I kill people for money. We've had this conversation many times. I respect that you have your path and I walk mine. You are one of the few people who know that you must learn to heal if you are to learn to harm, lest the harm be crude. It is why you interest me. But I must ensure before you leave Earth that you understand my meaning. You were beaten by this Vegeta. The only reason you live is due to the assistance of your allies. Luck. As you leave Earth, you are going to run into someone who is going to fight to kill you. Someone who can do it, if you choose to rely on this artificial rage, this false sense of balance that you've created, and fall. Then I will mourn you, Kakarot Kent. But it will not be for long.
The Justice League was finally ready to begin their search, the first stop on their journey being the Vega system, specifically the planet Okara, where they saw Ophidian, entity of avarice, source of the orange light. The Guardian Ganthet informed them of the location and the dangers of its owner, Agent Orange, the only member of the Orange Lantern Corps and one of the strongest beings in the universe. He was volatile, but not impossible to negotiate with, the Guardians having done so in the past, so long as they gave him something he would want. After a few days' journey, the League arrived on the planet, deciding to have Flash and Kakarot scour the planet first, as they were the fastest. The two stumbled upon a suspicious cave system, and upon entering it, were greeted by a terrible smell. The pair dove deeper, with Kakarot sensing an enormous concentration of energy from within, which they finally saw at the top of what looked like a shrine, the orange power battery.
I didn't think it'd be so beautiful.
The pair felt drawn to the battery, a growing desire to have it building within them. They needed it for the people they lost. No, they needed it for themselves. They had to have it. Before Kakarot and Flash could act on this overwhelming greed, they were smacked aside by a legion of strange alien creatures.
That's mine!
The creatures were in fact Larfleeze's core, or rather, his constructs, people he had slain that now obeyed his will, as Orange Lanterns. Kakarot and Flash quickly responded, taking on the army as best they could. Kakarot was able to dispatch them quickly, punching his way towards Larfleeze himself. But the numbers were overwhelming, and it seemed that even ancient Saiyans were among his core. Larfleeze recognizing that Kakarot was a Saiyan as his rings scanned the pair of thieves. Kakarot was forced to unleash his wrath form, the glowing green energy blasting back the constructs for a moment, with Larfleeze's eyes widening at the sight.
A Super Saiyan? After all these centuries, you shall be mine, oh mythic monkey!
Huh? Super Saiyan? Sorry, but I don't know what that is. I'm just a Saiyan raised on Earth.
Oh wait, no. The Super Saiyan is meant to be different, isn't it? Never mind. I've never seen that before either, so give it to me!
Kakarot tried to ward off Larfleeze's attack. However, Wally had managed to take the opportunity during the fight to steal Larfleeze's power battery, holding it near the edge of the cave, in front of the Orange Lantern.
Hold on! We're only here for the thing you've got inside this. We're not here to fight.
You speak of Ophidian the Tempter? No! I'll kill you for taking my stuff!
As Larfleeze prepared to strike again, Kakarot quickly darted between them, asking Flash to give the lantern back to Larfleeze, then proposing something better.
You like having good things, right?
I like having all the good things!
Well, how about the best thing? Like better than anything you got here?
You insult my prized collection, Simeon! Ha! How can I know someone like you has any idea what such a fabled best ever thing would be?
Got any food?
Larfleeze snapped his fingers, summoning a strange, spherical creature.
Glomulus! Prepare what the Earthlings call snacks!
A few hours passed, and the rest of the League arrived, after being informed of the situation by Flash, only to be greeted by a most peculiar sight. Larfleeze, belly fit to burst, his arms struggling to lift themselves to grab anything more from his plate, despite every fibre of his being wishing to. On the other side of the feast hall, Kakarot, happily devouring his meal, an inconceivable amount of discarded plates beside him.
You know, this food looks kinda weird, but it tastes great! More, please!
I have never seen someone consume so much with no end in sight, Saiyan. I think we might be almost friends. What is this best thing you want, so that I can take it?
It's going on a mystical adventure!
An adventure? Very well, you will all join me on my new adventure then. Yes, soon it will all be within my grasp!
With Larfleeze and the Avarice entity joining them, the League decided to split up into 3 teams to cover more ground, as the locations of the rest of the entities were unknown. However, with both green and orange energy, Hawkgirl was able to use the nth metal in her wings to harmonize a similar set of frequencies, allowing their ships to detect if they stumbled upon any other sources from the emotional spectrum. 2 weeks passed, and seemingly nothing was happening. Hawkgirl and Martian Manhunter were relieved that they had at least been put together on a team, as even with nothing to do, having each other's company was something. That is, it would have been, had they not been saddled with taking Larfleeze along. Martian Manhunter's mental powers being the only way to calm the lantern, albeit only slightly.
This is infuriating! It feels like it's been eons, and yet adventure still eludes my grasp!
Despite Larfleeze's occasional outburst, he mostly kept to his own quarters, his paranoia helping to give Martian Manhunter and Hawkgirl some semblance of privacy.
I know you think I'm a bad person.
Kendra?
With how I feel about Saiyans. Look, I know it's stupid. Kakarot he's a good guy. He's a moron, but he's good. I can understand that. It's just when you've lived so many different lives, and so many of them have been killed by a single group of people. It's hard to shake.
I do sympathize, Kendra. I am no stranger to misjudging those based on the actions of a people. But I am also a victim of it. Kakarot is trying to redefine what the Saiyan legacy is, and I believe it is our duty to help.
Before their conversation could go any further, their attention shifted to the radar screen blipping in the coordinates of a planet they were approaching.
Larfleeze, I need you to stay and protect your ship. It would be disastrous if someone stole it from you while we were away.
Yes, of course! I won't let them near all my shiny new stuff! The LexCorp kitchen utensils are mine, and mine alone!
The pair landed and were greeted by the Indigo tribe, who inquired as to how they were discovered. The duo explained their search for the entities and how it brought them to this place. Martian Manhunter attempted to scan their minds, only to feel an overwhelming amount of compassion, so much so that it was forcibly changing every member of the tribe, who would otherwise be psychopathic.
Kendra, I want you to ask them to convert me to the tribe. I won't have any sense of self in a moment.
Deciding that this would be the only way to summon the entity, John used his shape-shifting to alter his brain chemistry to a state of insanity. Kendra begged the tribe to help John, and without hesitation, they brought John into the core to tame him. With some sense of self recovered, John then linked his mind to all the Indigo tribe present, enhancing how every single one of them was feeling to an even more extreme degree. The task was overwhelming, but before his mind reached its breaking point, the entity proselyte emerged in the sky above them, diving into John and making him its host. Kendra quickly wrapped John in her wings, hoping, praying, that the properties at play would at least aid him somewhat in his fight to gain control. The Indigo tribe was in shock at the psychic power on display, while John slowly but surely rose to his feet, his mind reshaping itself and attempting to take control back to its normal state.
Oh my god, Jean! How did you know you could pull that off?
Knowing you were there to catch me if I fell allowed me the courage to step off the edge.
Things were not as successful for the team of Flash and Mirror. They had arrived on the planet after their ship system had suddenly changed course, but decided to search the area once the radar did pick up energy from the emotional spectrum. However, the planet in question was not one to be taken lightly. They were on War World, hiding in the stands of the gladiatorial arena, while Mongol stood in his high throne, announcing the next round of carnage.
Are you sure this is where we need to be right now? I am prepared to face that tyrant myself and beat the answers from him.
Easy, She-Ra. If we're here to find a big scary cosmic thing, Mongol's not going to be the kind of guy to hide the fact he's got it. There's bound to be someone here who's heard him gloat while he's drunk or something. So let's wait a while before taking on an entire planet.
Mongol rose to his feet, eating up the applause that came his way.
Now with the feeble appetizers out of the way, I know why you're all here. First, the challenger, the king of the ring, Mito! Having quickly rose through the ranks, will he be the one to dethrone the champion?
Mara gasped at the mention of the name Mito, feeling that now her plan of brute force would be tricky and unexpected if he was in Mongol's employ.
You know this guy?
Through reputation. A few years ago, Diana had engaged in an intergalactic boxing match with him to save a young girl's life. She said it was one of the most grueling battles she'd ever experienced.
Mongol continued to list off Mito's victories before signaling his minions to open the other contestants' gate.
But can any of that have prepared him for the unstoppable beast of might? The monster of a man? Our very own legendary.
Mongol was cut off by a shockwave that could be felt by everyone in the stands. Mito was down, defeated in a single instantaneous blow. And now, standing above him, was a tall, dark-haired man with a blank expression.
Broly!
Well, I do see your comments. I couldn't answer where Broly was until now. I hope it was worth it. We've planned this since the start, and are very excited to explore his character in the DC universe. You can expect him and the Justice League to return this month in the next episode of The Entity Saga. The site mentioned at the start of this video is run by my good friend Media Dwarf. He set it to have a Geek for Fun section where you can check out all the merch available at the moment, with more in future. Revenue from this helps support the artists we have on the channel, so if you want more cool DBDC art, give it a shot. As always, big thanks to my co-writer Sid Part 2, character designer Sir Bisa, and the amazing cast of Dragon Ball DC. Our previous Batman actor parted from the project rather suddenly, and while we wish him the best, we hope to continue on with the talent we have now. With all that said and done, I hope you've enjoyed, and we'll see you next time, folks. As always, take it easy.